Brilliant. Well, hello, everybody. Today I am talking to the wonderful Robin Pritchard, who runs the Cancer Care Map, which is something that I've only recently learnt about, and I want to share with everybody how wonderful this is. Now, I met you, Robin, a little while ago, I think a couple of years ago, didn't I, at the Hastings and Rother Cancer Support Network group that we're both part of. And then I found out about what you do and wanted to be involved. And now, as I say, I want to share it with everybody. So welcome, Robin. It's lovely to talk to you today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you tell everyone what the Cancer Care Map is? It's a wonderful title, but what it is and what it does basically. Would you like to
Yeah.
say that?
Yeah, thanks very much. So Cancer Care Map is an online, essentially it's an online directory of cancer support information. We cover the whole of the UK, and it's about making sure that people can find out about the thousands of local and national care and support services that are out there to help people at any stage from diagnosis through to during and beyond treatment, and afterwards as well. So it's all those sort of little third party, third sector support, community support that's out there to help not just the person living with cancer as well, but their sort of loved ones and carers as well. So anyone living with or affected by cancer, really.
And that's so important, isn't it? I'm glad you brought that up because it isn't just the person that gets the diagnosis. It is also the person and people that quite often there's quite a network of people around, loved ones, relatives, that they want support as well. And we don't know what's out there, do we? So
No.
something like this directory, I think, is brilliant. As I say, I hadn't heard of it until I met you. But it's just wonderful to be able to tap in, and it's online, isn't it? So people
Yes.
can actually, I'm doing this tapping.
Mhm.
For people that are just listening, I'm using my fingers tapping in, and find things. So you're countrywide, is that right?
Yes, yeah, we
Yeah.
cover the whole of the UK, so England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland as well. Yes, and we launched back in 2018. We launched our pilot site, and when we started, we literally put 150, we put 20 pins in the map, in 20 locations, and kind of started doing our own research to sort of find out what was out there. When we launched, we had around 150 different pins in the map, so 150 different support services, and we've now got over 6,000. So it's grown and it's
Wow.
growing continually. And people always said to us at the start, how many support services do you think you've got out there? How much are out there? And we just didn't know. And it is continually growing, but also evolving, because I think that's the thing with information is it changes all the time. And that's really what we've sort of really focused on over the last 8 or so years
Mm.
is that checking and verifying and keeping that information up to date, because yeah, things are changing all the time, and there's nothing more frustrating than thinking you found something online, and then when you ring that number it doesn't ring, or an email doesn't get answered. And so sort of, yeah, that finding trusted and accurate and up-to-date information is really what we're about.
Yeah, that is a really good point, isn't it? Because when someone does look for some support, then if it isn't relevant, then that's quite disappointing, and sometimes it will put people off trying again. So
Yeah.
well, I think it's really important that you do that. And I know when I put my listing on, like for my support group that I run, and the cancer coaching that I do, the other thing that I really loved is that I was able to speak to a real person. You have a team of people working with you, don't you, that look after
Yes. Yeah.
everyone. So obviously, like you say, keeping those listings up to date and relevant is really important, and adding new ones all the time, because there's always new ones, isn't there, that we
Yeah.
find out about. But also from the other side of it, and for anyone that is listening to this or watching this, if you have a support organization or something that you want to add to your listing, you can do it. And I'm not very technical minded, but I managed to do it. I managed to work it all out. And when I wanted to question something, I could speak to a real person, and I got that support as well. So from
Yeah.
both sides, I think it's really helpful.
Yeah, and,
To
and I
have.
think that's the thing that we're an online we're a website, we're an online resource, but we're very much a team of real people. There's been sort of lots of, not pressure as such, but there's been lots of suggestions over the last 8 years that should we be automating things, or we should be going high tech with the
Mm.
search engine and all that kind of thing. And we've actually kept it really simple, and I think hopefully that's about understanding that when people are searching, when people are sort of needing help and support, they're in quite a fragile state often, and you don't want to get bombarded by technology and pop up. Chat bots and all that kind of thing, and AI. People are kind of very wary, I think, of AI these days. And although it can be, has a place and it's very helpful, actually, what we're about is you simply put in your postcode or your location, and you can just very simply see what's around you. You don't have to log in. There's no kind of, it's very easy to access. Um, and we're, yeah, a real team of people. So we check and verify the information before it's added, just to make sure that services are operating within sort of basic sort of NHS standards for patient safety.
Mm.
And then our team continually, the database is being continually checked and updated. And we've got a team of about 10 sort of in our information team, 10 people sort of based all over the country who are going in every day and just checking and keeping that information updated. And sometimes it's a really simple process. It's you check we check a website, we see that everything seems to be up to date and phone numbers are matching. Other times it can take a couple of days of back and forth with an organization to really understand if something's changed or they've added new services or they've had to withdraw some of their support because of funding or staffing issues. So it's a real people really understanding and sort of checking and sense checking things really. And we also that team of people present information in a really clear and accessible way. So we keep language really simple. Every listing has exactly the same format, so you can sort of compare like for like when you're looking for different organisations. And we take out all the sort of jargon and sort of salesy language and keep it really simple. And we always say, to our information team when they're, writing a listing or updating a listing, if there's anything in there that you'd have to explain to an elderly relative, then we need to rewrite it. We need to keep it in that sort of really simple, plain English for people.
Yeah, that's a lovely way to look at it, actually, isn't it? Keep it simple. And you're absolutely right. When people are accessing your services, looking in your directory, they probably are in a fragile state. And that the idea that they are cared for by you and a team of real people will make such a difference. Because I know people I speak to myself, I go, there's a directory, you can look it up. And they're a bit frightened of that. And like you say, when they're not in their right mind in a way, sometimes when they're sort of worrying, then they do want that extra support. So it's lovely that you do that for people and that you appreciate it, you understand it.
Yeah. And I think,
So,
it's that understanding that people can be sort of in a state where they can be very overwhelmed, and especially if they're, have recently been diagnosed or found out a loved one's been diagnosed, there's all sorts of things going through their head.
yeah,
And we know that people are given huge packs of information at diagnosis. And actually, sometimes from what we understand is that just sits in the corner of a room and people never go back to it because they might have been told that there's help and support, but actually all they're focused on is what treatment, what's my prognosis, what's going to happen in the next few weeks.
yeah,
And then sort of months later or even years later when, after treatment or when someone's sort of living with and beyond cancer and they need that extra support and they've got the headspace to kind of find that support, they've forgotten about that leaflet and they don't want to go back to that
yeah,
pile of information that's sat in the corner.
yeah,
And so what we try and do is just gently remind people all the time that there's all this support out there, and it's support that you might not even consider would be available to you. Whether that's that, there's charities that foster pets for elderly people who have got to go into hospital and have treatment or are recovering from treatment and can't walk their dog. There are amazing charities that offer free transport to people, especially if people are living on their own. I know there are certain charities that will drive people to and from appointments and sit with them during their treatment as well. It's all those kind of small, practical things that are out there. Support. I think when people think about cancer care and support, you think about sitting in a circle and sharing your experiences, and that really isn't for everyone. And again, there are amazing support groups out there that are walking groups, or they're fly fishing for women with breast cancer, or there's lots of sort of weird and wonderful activity support that's out there, as well as the more traditional types of support and information and advice and things like that.
yeah. So I love the way that you say that, and you're absolutely right. From my experience, that you get this great big pile of leaflets and whatever. You can't look at it at the time. You don't remember maybe where you've put things. So from the point of view of people that want to access your services, they can just type, like you said earlier, they can type a postcode in. Maybe could they type in specifically something they're looking for? and to pay
Yes.
for something like that? Because some stuff will be online, won't it be available
Yeah,
local?
and
Um,
we've kept our sort of our homepage really simple. That there's a location sort of search box where you put in either your postcode or your town or your city, and then you can then put in a keyword. So if you're looking for, a running group or an exercise group or financial advice,
mm,
but equally when you get your results, because sometimes as well, because we've got so much information on there now, again, that original was search can return quite an overwhelming amount of information. You can
mm,
then filter your results to
that's
see only NHS services or any free services
mm,
or counselling or financial help or physical activity, exercise, that kind of thing. So it's just helping people sort of navigate really the kind
mm,
of help that's out there. And as you say, there's also, especially since, after when everything changed in 2020. A lot of obviously face-to-face support suddenly stopped for a period, but a lot of services adapted and moved their support online.
mm,
And then afterwards, as things opened up again, they've kind of worked in a hybrid way. So there's still,
yeah,
thankfully, a lot of the face-to-face support came back, but equally, a lot of those online services and virtual support stayed because actually that's really helpful if people are isolating during treatment
yes,
or don't have the confidence to go out after surgery. You can still access support in that way, and also things like podcasts and helpful videos and things like that.
mm,
There's a lot of different types of help and information and support out there that you can access wherever you are in the UK, especially for people in more rural areas as well. Those other resources that are there can be really helpful.
yes, yeah. Because sometimes people can, like you say, when people are going through treatment, they might need to look after their immunities a bit compromised. And that. So to have a mixture of real life and online is really helpful, isn't it? And
Yeah,
like you say, covering all those areas is really good. So, like you say, you can filter your search down if you get a bit confused and overwhelmed if too much comes up. But also, you said there's things on there that I didn't even know were a thing. So people will find things they're not expecting. So they might not be necessarily asking for something.
yeah,
And I know that you do as well, which I think is a wonderful thing, is you regularly do a blog, don't you? So
yes.
you put that out all the time about services that are there that people, as I say, might not know about. And that's a really wonderful way for people to learn, isn't it? So on
Yeah,
your website, correct me if I'm wrong, there is a link that you can click on the blog and you can look through,
yeah,
can't
there's a blog page. So we have all
you?
the listings. So there's over there, so 6,000 listings
Yeah.
that are
Mm,
there. But
mm,
we also have, yeah, there's a blog page. So we create our own blogs. We also have guest blogs from different organizations. And it's just a way of surfacing information again, really. We can either, there's so many different awareness months. So we quite often awareness days and awareness months.
mm,
So we build blogs around that to sort of show the range of different services for pancreatic cancer or lung cancer, or uh, cancers for teenagers and young adults. Um, but we also then do sort of focuses on either particular areas of the country, sort of focus on a sort of geographical area or sort of types of support, or again we've done one recently. I don't know if it's gone out yet, but we've put it together that's around those more unusual types of support
yeah,
because
yeah.
yeah, people it isn't a one size fits all. People
Mm.
have very different needs in terms of how they want to access that support and the type of help they need.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of information on your website. And I imagine you're all over social media, I imagine as well. People
We
can,
are, yeah, we're on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram.
yeah, yeah. So people can find you there as well, can't they?
Yeah,
Which is really good. And like you say, people will access that information as and when they feel ready. So it's really nice that they can just dip in and out whenever they want to. And if they do get overwhelmed, they can sort of come away and come back to you, which is really good.
yes. And a really exciting thing. So we are a charity, and the charity behind Cancer Care Map is the Richard Dimbleby Cancer Fund, and we've been around for it's our 60th year, 60th anniversary year
Wow.
this year. It's actually the thing is the 23rd of March, I think. So it's very very
Oh,
soon.
very soon.
Um,
Yeah.
but so we've worked in the field of sort of care and support for sort of 60 years now,
Mm,
and that's always very much been the focus of the charity, and it's sort of helping people sort of live better with cancer and during treatment and beyond cancer. And yeah, it's that focus has always been on that care and support. And we sort of launched Cancer Care Map, and as I said, back in 2018. In the last 2 years, we've started now. We sort of realised that actually what we'd built with this database, this growing database of information, and it was very much something that it seemed no one else was quite doing. There are other directories, there are other sort of search engine stuff, but they're either very much focused on a particular tumor type or type of support, or the services run by a particular charity. There was nothing that was sort of as comprehensive and took in all those other services and private support that's out there. But, because it's about giving people choice and sort of enabling people with that information to go and seek help. Um, but yeah, so we've grown this database, and we've focused very much on, as we've said, the checking and the verifying and the keeping it updated. And then in the last 2 years, we've begun licensing that information out to other organizations. So our database of information, as well as appearing on our own website now, feeds into Macmillan's main website, in your area search engine that they've got is now has all our information embedded in it, and with some of the other sort of NHS Cancer Alliances as well. So we're trying to now ensure, because again, there's nothing more frustrating than people coming across conflicting information. So actually, what we're aiming to do is to work with more partners so that wherever people are searching and finding information, they're finding consistent and trusted information.
Yeah, you've really thought it through. I think it's amazing. It's a wonderful service for people.
Well, we're sort of a very small charity, a very small team, and so we're very agile, and we've sort of learnt and listened, and we're constantly developing and growing what we're doing. But it's about, really understanding what people need, what people want, how people access that information. There's a big focus really on, it's all very well creating an amazing directory, but if nobody knows about it, it just sits there. So, how do you reach those groups of people and communities that aren't as engaged in their own sort of help and support and advocating for themselves?
Mm.
How do you reach those different communities that have different accessibility needs or different language barriers, all that kind of stuff? So we're continually sort of looking to grow and evolve and develop what we're doing so that we can reach all those people. And it's not just working with patients directly, it's working with healthcare professionals, so with CNSs, with oncology teams, with primary care, with GPs as well. Because again, a lot of people, it's when their main treatment has finished and they sort of stop the hospital visits and are then back at home and trying to sort of get on with life and maybe visiting their GP with worries. It's about sort of helping those GPs and doctors who aren't going to have an in-depth knowledge of cancer support services because they're dealing with so many other things. But if they know that if they've got someone who's had cancer treatment, who's got some needs or needs some extra support, they can look at Cancer Care Map and see what's out there for them.
Yeah. So I really love that. So this is for anybody, any type of cancer, anywhere in the country. It doesn't have to be the person with the diagnosis. It could be someone that wants to find out more information. And you're also constantly looking for new people to add to the directory. So
yes.
Really, there's a lot of people out there that can get in touch with you and
yes, yeah.
with you. So
and we have on our website, on the main cancercaremap.org website, on the top right hand corner, there's an add a service button. You can click on that and you can, and it's quite a lengthy kind of form that we ask people to fill in to tell us about a service, just because again, we want to sort of really check and verify the information that's coming to us. Or they can there's a contact form, that a hello@cancercaremap email address that people can just get in touch as well.
Yeah, as I say, when I got involved with you, I did it both ways. I got a bit of personal support, and I did fill in the form as well. And I've pointed lots of people at it to get some help themselves as well. So it's really good. So can you say your website again for everybody?
Yep, it's www.cancercaremap.org.
That's lovely. And you're all over social media. Is it the same thing, Cancer Care Map?
Yes, yeah. If you just search Cancer Care Map on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, you can find us that way as well.
Brilliant. That is lovely. I'll put all the details when I put this recording out there. Then obviously I'll put all the details down so people can find you. But I think it's wonderful what you're doing. Thank you so much for speaking to me and making sure that more people know about this. And as I say, anyone that's listening or watching this, get in touch with Cancer Care Map. Find out more about it if you've got any questions or anything. And if you've got some services that help people, then get in touch as well. So thank you so much.
And we also say as well, if ever anyone's looking at Cancer Care Map and they find some information that's gone out of date or that is missing, just drop us a line and our team will look at it straight away.
Good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah,
So thank you so much for talking to me. And
pleasure.
it's wonderful what you do. And I'm so glad that I met you in the first place. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Nadine.